right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today to learn more about the Master of Legal Studies in Cybersecurity and Data Privacy at CSU's College of Law. Today, you're going to learn about the program and the application process. Brian, if you'll go to the next slide, please. So speaking with you today and who we are, I'm Julie DiBiasio. I'm the Director of Graduate Studies here at CSU College of Law. Many of you I've had the pleasure to meet, and those that I haven't, I really look forward to meeting you throughout this application process and hopefully when you enroll in this program. But with me today, who you are probably all here to hear from, who is an expert in cybersecurity and data privacy, is Professor Brian Ray. So Professor Brian Ray co-created the Center for Cybersecurity and Privacy Protection, which is where this program came from. So he created this program as well, and he also teaches in this program. He teaches our Introduction to American Law class. So many of you will have the privilege of having him as your professor at some point during this program. He always receives rave reviews and is a wonderful resource to students. So we are very lucky to have him as our director and of course as a professor in this program. Brian is going to start off by talking about the program in general. Then I will come back on to talk about the application process, and then we'll open it to any questions that any of you have. But at any time you have any questions, please either raise your hand or put a question in the Q&A or chat. I will monitor that as Brian is speaking, and we will answer your question in real time. So Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the program.
Thanks, Julie, and welcome everyone. As Julie said, we're just going to give you a quick overview of our program, tell you what you'll learn in the program, why it's beneficial to you as a cybersecurity professional in a variety of roles. And then Julie will take it back and tell you how to get started applying and what the due dates are. So, Master of Legal Studies in Cybersecurity and Data Privacy. This is a program that sits in a law school, which makes it unusual because it is not only a law program, but also a program that provides a thorough grounding on the technical side of cybersecurity and also the business aspects. So even the legal pieces of it, especially the privacy law and management course, takes an operational approach, talks about how you integrate compliance with these various laws and how that compliance role straddles legal, HR, compliance professionals, and technical professionals. And so we like to say that this program gives you a 360-degree view of cybersecurity and data privacy. It gives you a complete understanding of how these different pieces come together, as well as a really in-depth knowledge base and skill set for reading and implementing the various laws that are out there. And these laws are continuing to evolve. And many new ones continue to come into play. And so it gives you training to be able to adapt to this rapidly changing environment. It's designed for folks who want to do cybersecurity and data privacy in a variety of ways. Technical professionals who either are looking to get into cybersecurity or are already senior on a cybersecurity team. This gives you that additional skill set in areas that you might not be as expert in. Legal professionals who are non-lawyers but working in, for example, compliance. This gives you, again, that in-depth understanding of these laws, as well as a technical grounding, which will help you work with your technical colleagues. And then folks who are coming at it from a business perspective, again, it gives you both that legal and technical side. Now, I always like to emphasize that this program gives you a really thorough and valuable knowledge base that will stay with you and assist you throughout a career in this area. It is not the credential that will immediately get you entree into entry-level jobs, especially on the technical side of cybersecurity. If you're looking to do a compliance role, this is a good background. in compliance. But if you're looking to pivot into a technical role and you don't have a technical background already, then you're going to have to do other things. You're going to have to get more depth on the technical side. And typically this involves maybe doing some of these technical certifications or boot camp style programs. Again, this is still very valuable for folks who want to pursue a career in that way, but just want to be clear, you're going to need to do something else. And then generally speaking, the value of this degree is, again, in that in-depth knowledge that we provide that'll be useful throughout a career. Unlike, say, one of those certifications, it's not specifically recognized that you're not going to see Master of Legal Studies show up in a job ad. And so we, in addition to or throughout the courses that prepare you for this, we talk about industry certifications that are available that our courses connect to. And I'll explain a little bit more about that when we get to the curriculum. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's really, really important if you're going to be in cybersecurity, regardless of your role, to understand the legal aspects of it. There are a number of laws already on the books, and the laws keep changing, both internationally and within the US, and especially at the state level. The federal government has been a little bit slower to change things, although on the policy side, the executive branch of the government has been implementing increased set of requirements that typically are connected to these laws. So it's another area that you'll learn about in this program. But law drives a lot of the risk. It certainly dictates a lot of the things that the technical side has to do in terms of selecting controls. And it's sort of that sharp edge that management and especially the board understand. And so when you're getting to that senior role, you need to be able to be conversant and talk about the legal risks. And then as part of your job, you need to understand and be able to adapt to new laws as they come on. This is a growth area, no question. It's particularly a growth area on the technical side. There's just huge unmet demand, but also on the legal side, it's continuing to grow. Again, with the emergence of all these laws, organizations that in the past maybe didn't have to pay quite as much attention to this or could have done some basic hygiene type things are now having to pay more specific attention to increasingly detailed, increasingly specific laws and regulations. Okay, so what do you do through this program? Well, it's a 10-course, 30-credit program, part-time. All of our core courses, which are listed here, are primarily asynchronous with non-mandatory live classes, which we think are really, really valuable for you to be able to get to know each of your professors as well as your colleagues in the program. So again, we don't make it mandatory, but we really emphasize and I encourage you to try to attend those. Really kind of two themes that run through our program. There's the legal side and the technical side. And so on the legal side, the Introduction to American Law course and the legal writing courses are the two core courses that are paired together that are a sort of on-ramp into understanding how to read, how to interpret, and how to apply, and to some extent, how to create legal materials. Introduction to American Law, which, as Julie mentioned, is a course that I created and typically teach in the program. And that course is a survey of all the major topics that you would cover in your first year as a law student, as well as selected upper-level legal topics that you encounter frequently in cybersecurity and data privacy. And it's a combination of sort of general materials on those topics to get you that sort of baseline understanding of how law works and how these different areas of law work, with in many of those areas some specific examples that come from cybersecurity and data privacy. Legal writing then it goes a little bit deeper into how to understand and how legal materials are structured, how to read and consume them, how to do legal research, and how to some extent, again, produce legal materials, which not all of you will be doing, but if you can understand how your colleagues in the counsel's office or compliance office are thinking about these issues, and writing about this, you'll be better positioned to contribute to policies and to understand what's coming out and work with them really on trying to come up with good solutions that comply with these laws, but also allow the business to continue to do what it wants to do. Then on the technical side, Cybersecurity 1 is the baseline required course there. This is for folks without a technical background. It's a little bit of a jump into the deep end, but with lots and lots of support. Spencer Witten teaches this course. It uses a set of open source Kali Linux labs to really get your feet wet in understanding how different attacks work, as well as giving you that baseline knowledge about cybersecurity from a technical dimension. Cybersecurity 2 then is the second technical course, and that in that course you're looking at cybersecurity policy, but from a technical perspective, trying to understand how you select and what the range of controls that are available to comply with some of the core laws that you're learning about, and then you'll write a policy that again is focused on the technical, not the legal policy, although it's designed to comply with those legal requirements. And then the last technical course we have, which you typically take towards the end, is the technical capstone. This course, you use the Ohio Cyber Range Institute materials and work through a set of labs that are keyed and generally mapped to the Certified Ethical Hacker certification. Okay, and then on the legal side, the other required course is Privacy Law and Management. This is a survey course of not just privacy, but data security laws, focused on the US, but also touching on GDPR and some other international materials. This course keeps changing because of all the new laws that are coming on the books. I co-developed that course with Kirk Harith, who is currently Ohio's cybersecurity strategic advisor, the top cybersecurity policy person in the state. He agreed to do this course with us when he was very briefly retired after serving for years as the chief privacy officer at a large insurance company, Nationwide Insurance. So he's an example, as well as Spence, of some of the deep expertise that we have in this area. Now, the other legal courses we have here, these are the courses that we guarantee you can get in that asynchronous format. I want to emphasize, though, there is some flexibility in the program to the extent you have flexibility and are able to take, for example, synchronous courses online, or if you're local and you can come to campus, we're always happy to work with you. And we have a range of other electives that we offer frequently, because in addition to this program, we offer a certificate program for JD students and for other graduate students at CSU. But the courses that we created for this program that you can get asynchronously are Corporate Compliance 1 and 2. These are paired courses. The cybersecurity and privacy functions within an organization are implemented, the legal side of it are implemented within a compliance program. And so it's important to understand how they fit within these other issues, things like antitrust, and also just how a compliance office works and thinks and what drives its structure. HIPAA and privacy deals with the federal health law, HIPAA and high tech. And the reason that we use that course as a deep dive is because HIPAA still is, at the federal level in the US, one of the most extensive and prescriptive regulatory frameworks. And so understanding HIPAA allows you really to be able to implement any extensive regulatory regime. And then cyber law takes the frame out a little bit. This course was developed for us by a professor at the Air Force Academy, who is formerly a member of Cyber Command within the Air Force, takes a look at the criminal law aspects, national security, and to some extent international law dimensions of cybersecurity. So that's the package. As I mentioned, there is flexibility outside of the required courses, Intro to American Law, Legal Writing, Cybersecurity 1, Privacy Law and Management. These other electives, we can work with you. And we've got some really cool courses we've developed recently that are online, just not 100% synchronous. So for example, we just are piloting this semester a course called Dark Web Criminology. It's taught by an international expert who consults with law enforcement across the world on using the dark web in investigations. Really fascinating course, primarily asynchronous, but ends with a couple weeks of a an interactive project. And so these courses, again, they're available to you. We just didn't create them in this strict asynchronous format. The other thing I want to emphasize is if you come to us either with a JD or with substantial cybersecurity experience or a master's, we're also happy to work with you on either waiving or substituting some of the baseline cybersecurity courses. So Cybersecurity 1, or if you have the JD, legal writing and or Inter-American law. Oh, I'm sorry, I went the wrong direction. Let me, okay. And again, just to reemphasize, this is that 360-degree view. So that detail on the curriculum gives you a sense. It's mostly a deep dive into the law parts, but really a pretty thorough grounding in the technical side. Although, again, if you don't come to us with a technical background, really probably need to do something else on top of this. And you'll come out of this program really with this really in-depth knowledge that if you were a JD, you wouldn't get even in most law programs. Our own certificate, you don't have to do as many credits as you do in this one. So you're really getting an even greater substantive basis than our JD students who do the certificate do. And then more importantly, you learn how to implement these things. So the Privacy Law and Management course and these other courses, Corporate Compliance 1 and 2, are focused on how do they work, how do they live and breathe in an organizational context. All right, with that, I'll hand it back to you, Julie.
Thank you, Brian. So if what you just learned made you want to apply to this program, which we hope that it did, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the application process and our next deadlines. So we enroll for this program in 2 semesters, in the fall every year and in the spring every year. And our next semester begins in spring 2024, which is a January 8th start date. And because of that, we would like all applications in by November 1st. There's a little bit of flexibility there. So if you need a little bit more time, please contact Brian or I, and we can talk to you about that. But ideally, your application would be in by November 1st to start in the spring session. The application we try to make as simple as possible for you. And one of the ways that we do that is we really encourage you to contact either Brian or myself first, so we can have a conversation with you to understand and make sure that this program is a good fit. Because as Brian said earlier, we really want this program to make sense for you and your career goals. So please reach out to us to have that conversation. So by the time you go to apply, we are all on the same page that this is a good fit for you. And by doing that, we can often waive one of the requirements, which is the personal essay describing why you would want this degree. That is one of the required documents. But again, if we have some in-depth conversations, we can always waive that requirement as we feel confident by our conversations that we understand what your motivation is. But what we need for your application, and this will all be uploaded to our online application portal, which can be found on onlinelaw.csuohio.edu. On every single page that you click through, there's a big green Apply Now button on the right hand of the screen. You click on that and it'll start your process to create an application. And also, all of this is on our webpage under the admissions tab. But what we need from you is, of course, a completed online application. It's very simple, just filling out your information. And then you will upload a current resume. The personal statement, if we didn't have a conversation ahead of time and we didn't say that we could waive that for you. And then your official transcript showing that you earned a bachelor's degree. You can always include other transcripts if you have another master's degree or other certificates that you want the admissions committee to take into consideration. But what we really need is your bachelor's degree. Those, unfortunately, cannot be uploaded to the application portal. Those have to be emailed directly to me. And my email is included in the application with instructions on how to email those transcripts to me. And you can always reach out with any questions. If you attended your bachelor's degree in a country outside of the United States, we will need an evaluated degree from either WES or ECE. And again, we can talk about that. And I can send you those links to make sure that we have your transcripts evaluated. But as a reminder, the deadline for the spring 2024 cohort is November 1st. Brian, next slide. And here's our contact information. So that email address right there goes to both Brian and I. So if you email that and you have specific questions, maybe programmatic questions, career questions, or about a specific class, Brian may get back to you. If your question is more about the application process, how to apply, if this program is right for me, you'll most likely hear from me, and then we'll always bring in Brian if we feel we need his advice or we want him to weigh in on that. But please email that email address. It will come to both of us and you will hear from one of us. That is also my direct line to my office. You can always give me a call, but we really encourage you one way or another to reach out to us so we can talk to you, make sure that this is a good fit for both you and us, and that you'll be happy in this program, because that's our goal. We want happy graduates. I don't have any other information. Brian, is there anything else you'd like for our guests to know?
That's it. Just feel free to reach out and we'd be happy to talk to you more and talk through with you whether the program's the right fit for what you want to do. Thanks,
Great.
Julie.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all the great information, Brian. And we really look forward to working with all of you. Please reach out to us and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.